Good morning, America. Breaking news in that deadly rampage. The first image of the gunman who went on that wild shooting spree in California, killing 4, wounding nearly a dozen, attempting to attack this elementary school. How the quick-thinking staff protected their students, and what the shooter's mother is now revealing.
New overnight, not backing down. Roy Moore in church refuses to drop out of the Alabama Senate race.
Why do you think they're giving me this trouble?
As even his strongest supporters like Sean Hannity give him an ultimatum. And big new questions. Who's behind this phony robocall?
Hi, this is WABC GMA reporter for the Washington Post.
Offering to pay women to come forward with new allegations.
Murderer on the loose. This man seen escaping from a psychiatric hospital, flying from Hawaii to California. Police warning he has a classic serial killer profile. The race to find him right now.
And ABC News exclusive, Me Too. Actor Terry Crews now telling his story, saying he was harassed by a high-powered Hollywood executive at a party with his wife right there. The fears he had about coming forward, now speaking out for the first time on television. Here live on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. That's right. Terry Crews is here, and Michael, he has a story to tell.
He really does. I think a lot of people were surprised when he joined the Me Too movement, and a very important story, and I'm looking forward to talking to him in a little while.
It's not easy to come forward, but it's the right thing to do, and as you said, very important. And we're going to get to that later, but first we're going to begin with those breaking new details about the victims and gunmen in a deadly shooting spree in California. A shooter going on the rampage, killing at least 4 people, opening fire at 7 different locations, including an elementary school, where police are praising the quick-thinking staff there for preventing a tragedy. The tragedy there. Our senior national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is in Red Bluff, California, with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Robin. That quick-thinking principal knew that what they were hearing in the distance was not firecrackers, but gunfire, and immediately put that school on lockdown, even before getting notice from law enforcement. And this morning, the sheriff is learning more about that suspect and the 14 people he shot.
Authorities believe Kevin Neal is the man responsible for terrorizing a Northern California community in a shooting rampage that lasted 45 minutes. The killing spree began at 7:52 a.m. when a 911 call came in that a person was down at a local home. Police say Neal then drove shooting as he went to the Tehama Elementary School, where he fired at least 30 rounds.
And the gunman arrived here literally driving his truck into that school, and that's when he tried to take aim at the students inside.
Coy Ferreira was dropping his daughter off at kindergarten.
This is a 5-year-old who was just so shooken up that she heard the words "shooter on campus" and run to the safety of the classroom. She didn't know where to go. She was just frozen in time.
Moments later, the gunman opened fire.
So you were standing by the door as the bullets were coming in the windows.
That's correct. When I turned my back, our window was being blasted through.
One 5-year-old was shot right in front of Ferreira, but is expected to be okay. The school principal is being hailed as a hero this morning. Authorities believe Neal had tried to kill as many students as possible in that tiny school, but was thwarted when the school immediately went on lockdown. According to authorities, the frustrated gunman got back into his truck, shooting at bystanders on the street and into residents' homes, even at other motorists.
He encountered some other people on the road. He then took that citizen's vehicle and went back on his rampage.
That citizen was a mother driving her son to school. The boy is expected to be okay, but his mother is in critical condition. Jonah Buncayo passed the shooter in his vehicle.
He drove into a ditch, and I didn't know it was a shooter at first. And I asked him if he was okay. He said, "Yeah, I'm okay. How about you?" And then he pulled out his gun, and then I started running.
The entire community was on lockdown for nearly 45 minutes when officers finally caught up to him.
Police officer rammed the vehicle, forced it off the road, exchange of gunfire, which resulted in the shooter's death.
FBI forensics teams on multiple scenes overnight, picking through the evidence, including dozens of bullet casings. Neal's mother telling the Associated Press that her son called her a few days before the killing and said, "It's all over now. I'm on a cliff and there's nowhere to go."
Now, his mother paints a portrait of a psychologically disturbed man who she says was reaching out for help. We know that Neil had been feuding with his neighbors, actually stabbing one of them back in January. He was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, for that facing prosecution. Now, the sheriff's office this morning is trying to determine whether or not the guns he had were legal, and if not, how he got hold of them. Robin.
So many questions, Matt. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Also this morning, President Trump is back in Washington after his 13-day trip overseas, now gearing up for a battle on tax reform. Senate Republicans revealed a new plan overnight. It also takes on Obamacare, calling for a repeal of the individual mandate that would reduce the deficit by more than $300 billion, but also cause 13 million Americans to lose their insurance coverage. And Republican senators facing a growing crisis over Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, who was defiant overnight about not dropping out of the race despite allegations of sexual misconduct with teenage girls. Our chief national correspondent Tom Yamas in Birmingham, Alabama, with the latest. Good morning, Tom.
George, good morning to you. Roy Moore spoke overnight, and he did not sound like someone who's even considering dropping out of this race. He's now describing this as a spiritual battle to his supporters, saying he wants to bring the truth about God to the U.S. Capitol.
Roy Moore may be a pariah to some on Capitol Hill, but overnight at this Alabama church, a standing ovation.
Obviously, I've made a few people mad. I'm the only one that can unite Democrats and Republicans, because I seem to be opposed by both.
Moore, the Republican Senate candidate from Alabama.
This is not just a battle for Democrats and Republicans and how they vote on issues. This is a spiritual battle.
At war with many in his own party who are calling on him to drop out after allegations surfaced he sexually assaulted 2 teenage girls while he was a local prosecutor in the late 70s.
I tried fighting him off while yelling at him to stop.
Moore has denied all accusations of sexual misconduct, but Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is still planning to take him down, even suggesting a write-in campaign for embattled Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
The Alabamian who would, fit that standard would be the Attorney General, who's totally well-known and extremely popular in Alabama.
McConnell vowing if Moore does win, the newly elected Alabama senator will face an immediate ethics investigation. Mudding the waters even more in Alabama, a bogus robocall. At least one voter telling ABC News they received this suspicious message, pretending to be from the Washington Post, which broke the story about Moore's accusers.
Hi, this is Lenny Bernstein. I'm a reporter for the Washington Post. Calling to find out if anyone at this address is a female between the ages of 54 to 57 years old, willing to make damaging remarks about candidate Roy Moore for a reward of between $5,000 and $7,000.
The Post saying the call is fake, and it's appalled that anyone would stoop to this level to discredit real journalism. And now, one of Moore's biggest and well-known supporters issuing an ultimatum.
For me, the judge has 24 hours.
Fox News' Sean Hannity under pressure after companies pulled their ads from his show over what seemed to be his support for Moore, now demanding the candidate prove his innocence.
You must remove any doubt. If you can't do this, then Judge Moore needs to get out of this race.
You heard Sean Hannity there. Roy Moore's support outside of Alabama may be crumbling, but here in the state, there are still several elected officials who are still backing him. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, I tried talking to Republican Alabama Representative Mo Brooks. I had to chase him down 5 flights of stairs to ask him if he believed the women or if he believed Roy Moore. He says that he believes electing a Democrat would actually be more dangerous than electing Moore in the wake of what he calls contested sexual allegations. George?
That is the Congressman. The senior Republican senator, though, Richard Shelby of Alabama, now saying he thinks the state party should drop Roy Moore. Meantime, the next big shoe to drop, Tom, could be President Trump. He's now back in the United States, expected to weigh in on Roy Moore at some point.
That's right, George. He's back from Asia, but the story right in front of him is all about Alabama. Our reporting is that Jeff Sessions has no interest in being the write-in candidate, but that may be the Republicans' best option since Moore doesn't want to step aside. The campaign has told me that even a call for President Trump would not compel Moore to drop out of this race.
Although
George?
from what the president has said, he might not be too unhappy if Jeff Sessions is no longer Attorney General. Okay, Tom Yamas, thanks very much. Republican senators now united against Roy Moore as they push hard for their tax bill. Our senior congressional correspondent Mary Bruce tracking it from Capitol Hill. Mary, in a major shift, GOP Senate now taking another shot at repealing that key part of Obamacare in this tax bill.
Yeah, and George, this is a risky move. As part of their tax bill, Senate Republicans are now aiming to repeal the Obamacare mandate that all Americans have insurance or pay a fine. Now, Republicans, we've seen them try this before and failed, but the president wants to give this another go. Repealing the mandate could help them save more than $300 billion, but it could also leave 13 million more Americans uninsured over the next decade. We're already seeing some Republicans raise concerns about what this could mean, especially for your premiums. But George, the big question now is their desire to pass tax reform. Is that going to outweigh these concerns?
Yeah, and another big change that could complicate that. They're making the middle class tax cuts temporary, but the corporate tax cut permanent. But on another front, it looks like this Me Too movement may be about to hit home on Capitol Hill. You had that hearing yesterday where a member of Congress, a female member of Congress, said at least 2 of her colleagues have been investigated for sexual harassment.
Yeah, George, female members of Congress, led by Jackie Spear, are really shining a spotlight on sexual harassment here on the Hill, saying this is a very big problem. Yesterday, Congresswoman Spear actually, without naming names, accused 2 of her fellow colleagues of misconduct and sexual harassment. Now, they want to overhaul the process to report and file complaints about this kind of behavior. And we did see yesterday, George, the Speaker of the House, say he wants to now move for mandatory anti-harassment training.
Have to believe we're going to be hearing more from Capitol Hill. Mary Bruce, thanks very much. Robin?
And George, also on Capitol Hill, Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the hot seat grilled over what he knew about the Trump campaign's Russia contacts and whether he told the truth in previous testimony. Our senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has more. He's there in Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
Robin, good morning. It was a contentious hearing with Democrats on the attack and Sessions pushing back hard.
I had a meeting with the Russian ambassador, yes.
That's exactly the opposite answer you gave under oath to U.S. Senate. So again, either you're lying to U.S. Senate or you're lying to U.S. House of Representatives.
Well, Attorney General Jeff Sessions defiant, at times indignant, at the suggestion that he lied to Congress.
I will not accept and reject accusations that I have ever lied. That is a lie.
Just last month, Sessions testified that he never knew of any communications between Russian operatives and the Trump campaign.
I'm not aware of those activities. And I wasn't, and am not. I don't believe they occurred.
But those activities discussed in that March 2016 meeting with Sessions, then candidate Donald Trump, and former Trump foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos, who said he had connections who could arrange talks between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Papadopoulos has since pled guilty to lying to the FBI. Sessions said he had forgotten about that meeting, only recalling it amid press reports.
There are reports that you shut George down, unquote, when he proposed that meeting with Putin. Is this correct, yes or no?
Yes, I pushed back.
And his answer to how he could forget a meeting like that.
It was a brilliant campaign, I think, in many ways, but it was a form of chaos every day from day one.
Sessions said although his answers have changed, one fact remains true. He was only trying to convey he was never part of and never knew of any attempts by the Trump campaign to collude with the Russians to impact the election. Guys?
Okay, but many others will be weighing in with Robert Mueller and what they said.
They will.
The Attorney General as well. We're going to move on now overseas to a breaking political crisis in Africa. U.S. Embassy staff in Zimbabwe have been advised to shelter in place because of an apparent military coup. Soldiers seized control of state TV today. They're patrolling the streets amid reports of explosions and gunfire. This comes after the party of the 93-year-old President Robert Mugabe, the longest-serving president in Africa, accused a military leader of treason. Army officials insist the president is safe. Deny a coup is underway. They say they are only targeting men around the president who they think are criminals.
And
Michael.
George, back here at home, as they still hunt for that serial killer in Tampa, another part of the country is now on edge. Authorities are warning this killer has escaped the psychiatric hospital in Hawaii and has flown to California. And Adrian Bankert is here with the latest. Good morning, Adrian.
This is a really disturbing story, Michael, for many reasons. One is that the hospital says that he is now in Northern California, escaping from Hawaii. As you mentioned, he's dangerous and should not be approached. They describe him as sadistic. And that most chilling is that he has all the characteristics of a classic serial killer. Now, we do know that Sato left the psychiatric hospital empty-handed, hailing a cab. That cab took him to an airport where he had chartered a plane. He was able to get from that plane to the Honolulu airport and travel to Northern California, specifically San Jose. We know that he now has a backpack. He has cash. He has a cell phone and a phone charger. And again, authorities saying that what is possibly most disturbing is that there was no report that Sato was even missing for about 10 hours, an hour and a half after he landed in San Jose. And we still don't know. The health department still hasn't told us exactly how he was able to get out.
Yeah, it seemed like such an easy escape.
And how was he able to charter a plane?
Yeah, either somebody is helping him. We don't know all the details, but either somebody is helping him or he was able to get from one plane to the next. But again, he's in California at this point.
Wow, strange and scary story. Now to a crackdown on college fraternity life after another death of a student pledge. Texas State University has suspended all frat and sorority activities after the death of a young man who attended a party. ABC Gio Benitez here with the details. And Gio, this just keeps happening.
Oh, yeah, George, good morning. This is a brand new case, but as you say, it's an issue we keep hearing about, a pledge potentially a victim of hazing. And authorities are still looking at it, but this morning, the university is taking no chances. This morning, officials are investigating the death of a Texas State University student, saying alcohol may have played a role.
Some initial interviews of the persons on scene indicated they had been drinking that evening or the evening prior.
20-year-old Matthew Ellis, a Phi Kappa Psi pledge, was found dead Monday morning at an off-campus apartment after attending a fraternity event. Officials say if he was hazed, arrests could be made.
Charges could range from furnishing alcohol to a minor, on the high end of possibly manslaughter.
The university shutting down all Greek life at the school. The Texas State president releasing a statement saying it is imperative that our entire university community develop a culture that places the highest priority on the safety of its students, faculty, and staff. This is the latest in a string of recent incidents at fraternities around the country. Just last month, 10 current and former Louisiana State students were arrested after a freshman pledge died in an alleged hazing ritual. The fraternity's local chapter shut down. Last week, Pi Kappa Phi suspending its Florida State branch after a pledge was found dead after a night of partying. And this week, 12 more former fraternity brothers were charged in the alleged hazing death of Penn State freshman Tim Piazza. And those 12 students will face a judge in about 2 weeks. But in all of these cases, the students who've already entered pleas, they're maintaining their innocence and they're saying they're not guilty of this.
We'll see. Yeah. All right, Gio, thank you. Overnight, those 3 UCLA basketball players accused of shoplifting in China, they arrived back home on U.S. soil, landing in Los Angeles, where, as you can see, they were met by a crowd of reporters. The players were released after the White House said President Trump made a personal plea to China's president to resolve the case. They are expected to make a public statement, the students are, this morning. The school has been deciding whether or not to take disciplinary action. They haven't decided yet.
All right, we keep an eye on that. And we're going to go to Ginger with the wildfires in Southern California, Ginger, and there's also wind in the forecast.
Yes, Michael, we start in the desert. This is Desert Hot Springs. That was a 40-plus acre brush fire, and that started up, and it looks like they've got quite a bit of it controlled. But the wind is going to be bad with this new storm that is hitting now, and really what we're concerned with are those burn scar areas from those big, deadly fires a couple of weeks ago in the Bay Area. So North Bay Area could end up seeing 1 to 2 inch rainfall rates with this. So we could see mudslides, debris flow, and then of course that wind and 1 to even 4 feet of snow in the Sierra. Rainy Cities Now, brought to you by Walmart.
Just because we get around, my generation, why don't you all fade away? And don't try to dig what we all say.
Well, at least today we've got a little bit of sunshine coming our way early in the day. We'll go from sunshine to clouds. The rain will wait until overnight after about midnight. But today's high 52 to 53 degrees after a very cold start. So we've got one front for today. Another front comes in late Saturday. That'll bring some showers to the area. Gone by Sunday morning, any rain, but it's going to be a blustery Sunday. The high just 49 degrees, windy and cold. Thanksgiving now looking dry, the high 44.
ABC News exclusive, Terry Crews speaking out about his harassment allegation against a top Hollywood executive. He's doing this for the first time on television. What he says happened at a party in front of his wife, and his message for others who have a fear of coming forward.
And news on this scary scene at a water park. A young boy flying off that slide, lucky to be alive. He suffered serious injuries, and now the family is taking on that park. Be right back.
Every day, on every street, in every town across America, small businesses show